There are pains that cannot be explained with words. You feel them, but you don't know where they come from. It's not an illness, not just sadness. It's a restlessness that lives deep in the chest. A spiritual discomfort that arises even when everything seems fine. This silent pain often visits those who have been set apart by God for a greater purpose. It's as if the heart were being trained in silence, as if every wound had an invisible role in forming something much greater. And as strange as it may seem, these pains are not punishment. They are signs. Spiritual marks that heaven allows in order to prepare the inner being before revealing destiny. And only those who carry a true calling understand the weight that this represents. You may feel strange in certain places, out of place among ordinary people, uncomfortable with empty conversations, or environments that once seemed normal. That sensitivity is not weakness, it's response. Those who are chosen sense when something is out of place, even if no one around them notices. It's as if the spirit screams, while the world insists on staying silent. In this video, you will discover 7 spiritual pains that often repeat themselves in the lives of those who have been marked for something greater. They are deep experiences, sometimes lonely, but they carry an invisible purpose, to prepare you to carry what few would be able to endure. I am George. Now I ask that you follow this channel, turn on notifications, and share this with someone who is also living through this process, because the chosen recognize one another, not by appearance, but by spirit. Let's continue this journey. Few experiences are as silent as being surrounded by people and yet feeling that you don't belong there. It's as if your body is present, but your soul is somewhere else, crying out for something deeper. The pain of disconnection isn't a lack of affection or common rejection. It's a spiritual sign that reveals something different is pulsing inside you. Those chosen by God begin to notice this disconnection early. Things that once brought pleasure start to lose meaning. What entertains others begins to bother you. Parties, shallow conversations, heavy environments, all of it starts to feel empty. There's an inner calling for something purer, truer, more aligned with what comes from above. It's as if your spirit, even without knowing how to explain, was searching for a different frequency. Many try to ignore that discomfort. They try to adapt. They force smiles, make themselves stay where they don't belong, get involved in what no longer makes sense. But sooner or later, they realize they can't fake it anymore. What changed wasn't the world. It was the spirit within you. It's been activated. And once activated, it never goes back to its previous state. This pain of not fitting in may seem like punishment at first, but it's actually a sacred separation. It's God pulling you out of the crowd to align you with a purpose that isn't common. Jesus had already said, "They are not of the world, just as I am not of the world." John 17:16. This separation hurts, but it also purifies. It removes what delays you, filters out connections, and redirects your path. If you feel like you no longer belong in the same places, that you've distanced yourself from certain circles, that you prefer the silence of God's presence over the noise of the world, that's not loneliness, it's preparation. Heaven is spiritually repositioning you. And this disconnection, as painful as it may seem, is the beginning of your reconfiguration. Don't fight it. Understand what it's trying to teach you. The pain of disconnection is the first gateway to transformation. Those who go through it begin to see with new eyes. They start choosing their battles, their company, their priorities more wisely. They begin to realize that life is far too short to waste in places where God isn't welcome. And with that, the heart starts to align with something eternal. So if you feel that pain, Don't ignore it. It's the first sign that heaven recognizes you as one of its own. You're being repositioned to live something that no longer fits your old self. That disconnection is only the beginning of a path where everything starts to make sense, but in a way that only the chosen can understand. The pain of heightened spiritual sensitivity. Some see sensitivity as weakness, but for the chosen, it's one of the most powerful tools of discernment. When spiritual sensitivity starts to awaken, everything around gains a new weight. Places, people, words, and even looks begin to carry invisible information, perceptible only to those whose spirit is awake. And though valuable, that perception often hurts. You might be in an apparently peaceful environment and suddenly feel an unexplainable heaviness. A sudden headache, chills running through your body, an unease with no logical cause. This happens because your spirit sensitivity has been activated. And now you pick up on things that once went unnoticed. You become like a spiritual thermometer. This pain isn't physical, but it isn't emotional either. It's spiritual. It's the result of a heart that's tuned to heaven, and therefore clashes with environments disconnected from the light. You can tell when a conversation is heavy. You sense when someone carries dark energy, even if they're smiling. You understand, without being told, that something is off. This sensitivity can't be taught. It's born with the chosen and grows stronger over time. But there's a cost. Those who are spiritually sensitive often isolate themselves, not out of arrogance, but self-preservation. Noisy environments drain them. Superficialities exhaust them. Being near negative people demands twice the effort. Many will think you're distant, antisocial, or strange. But in truth, you're simply protecting yourself. This pain of sensitivity also shows how protected you are. The Holy Spirit activates that inner alarm not to hurt you, but to guide you safely. He shows where you should enter, who you should distance yourself from, and which paths aren't meant for you. The problem is, we don't always have the courage to obey right away. And so that pain persists, until you learn to listen, until you realize you can't live like everyone else, because your mission isn't like everyone else's. This sensitivity is a key that gives you access to deep discernment, revelation, and deliverance. It's a gift, a form of care, and also a warning. If you feel this, don't ignore it. And don't try to reshape yourself to please those who don't understand. You're not strange. You're sensitive to what many can't perceive. This pain is your protection. And the more you honor it, the clearer God's direction becomes in your life. Heaven speaks, but only the sensitive can hear it. Being rejected hurts, but being rejected for carrying a light that disturbs others is an even deeper pain. Many of the chosen face this kind of rejection without understanding why. Old friendships grow cold, invitations disappear. People distance themselves without explanation. It's as if something invisible were separating you. And it is. God Himself is removing you from environments that no longer belong to you. Rejection, when it comes without reason, often brings confusion. The heart asks, "What did I do wrong?" And the answer, many times, is nothing. You were simply marked. And that mark shines. Even if you say nothing, your presence unsettles. Not because you're better, but because you carry a spirit that wordlessly confronts the darkness living inside some hearts. Isolation seems like punishment, but it's preparation. When God sets someone apart, He also silences external voices so the person can hear only His. It's in the silence that the spirit matures. It's in solitude that character is forged. And it's in that place, unseen by others, where God begins to reveal His true plans for His chosen ones. Jesus went through that too. He was rejected by His own, abandoned by friends, and misunderstood even by those who claimed to love Him. In John 1:11 it's written, "He came to his own, and his own did not receive him." So if even the Son of God was rejected, why would it be different for you? Rejection is part of the calling. It doesn't prove your failure. It confirms your separation. This isolation isn't eternal, but it is necessary. It purifies, it strengthens, it clears the ground for new connections aligned with your purpose. And when you come out of this process, you come out different, stronger, steadier, more prepared for what heaven has to give you. So if you're living through this season of distance and silence, embrace it. Let God work within you. Let Him change your garments, heal your wounds, and prepare your table. For soon the time will come to sit at it. And those who walked away today will witness your restoration tomorrow. Because rejection, when it comes from heaven, is just the door that precedes honor. The pain of emptiness and existential anguish. Have you ever looked around and, even having everything you need, felt like something was missing? Have you ever felt that no matter how much you achieve, something inside you still feels incomplete? That's the kind of pain only those who carry a true calling can feel. It's existential anguish, a spiritual emptiness that nothing earthly can fill. This pain is subtle, yet deep. It doesn't scream, but it tightens. You can be surrounded by people with a seemingly balanced life, yet feel an inner unease. Something calling you, something missing. And the more you try to fill that space with distractions, the larger it grows. Because it's not just any void. It's a space reserved for God's purpose. The chosen feel this pain because they were born with a seal. And until that seal aligns with their spiritual mission, the heart finds no rest. It doesn't matter how much one tries to compensate with success, relationships, or possessions. Everything feels incomplete. And that's when many feel lost, thinking they're doing something wrong, when in truth, they're being called. This anguish is like a spiritual alarm clock. It shakes you. It disturbs you. It drives you to search for what truly matters. It pulls you out of comfort and pushes you toward the altar. Because only in God can that emptiness be filled. Only in fulfilling the mission He entrusted to you does the soul find peace. And the sooner you understand that, the less it hurts. Solomon experienced this. He had everything: power, wealth, wisdom, pleasures, and still declared, "Vanity of vanities, all is vanity." Ecclesiastes 1:2. That shows that nothing in this world, no matter how brilliant it appears, can replace the sense of purpose that God places in a chosen one's heart. This pain is, in truth, a compass pointing toward heaven. So if you feel that emptiness, that constant restlessness, stop looking for external answers. Go to the secret place. Speak to God. Ask for direction. Because this pain didn't come to destroy you. It came to align you. It came to remind you that you are not ordinary. You were set apart for something eternal. And until you walk in that destiny, your heart will not rest. Few pains are as silent as carrying spiritual revelations that almost no one understands. It's a sense of spiritual isolation that seeps even into your most intimate moments with God. You feel that you've seen something, perceived a truth, had a dream so clear, a vision so intense, that no doubt remains inside you. But when you try to express it, the response you get is coldness, disbelief, or mockery. The chosen ones often receive this kind of revelation, not because they're better or more spiritual than others, but because they've been set apart to see beyond, to see what's not yet visible. The problem is, that vision unsettles people. Many times even those closest to you don't understand. You share, hoping to be heard, but what you receive is silence or a response that cuts the soul. This is more common than it seems. People with heightened spiritual gifts are often called exaggerated, strange, or extreme. Some prefer to stay quiet, swallow their experiences, hide their dreams. And that's when the pain grows. Because revelation is not just a gift, it's a weight. A weight that demands prayer, discernment, patience, and courage to keep seeing even when no one believes. Have you ever woken up certain that God revealed something to you? Have you felt the urge to warn someone, intercede for a situation, or simply hold on to a word that came as a whisper in your spirit? That's not fantasy. It's real. And it's part of the mission of those who have been set apart by God. The prophets in the Bible also faced this loneliness. Jeremiah was rejected. Elisha was called a troublemaker. But they all knew they were fulfilling something greater. The pain of spiritual revelation doesn't stem only from others' lack of understanding. It also comes from the urgency it carries. It's as if something inside you cries out, "This needs to be said, needs to be done, needs to be understood." And when it isn't, the heart feels heavy. But there's comfort in that. God doesn't reveal things to just anyone. He entrusts revelation to those he can use. So if you feel that weight, don't give up. Keep seeking discernment, wisdom, and direction through prayer. Guard in your heart what must be kept. Speak when God tells you to speak. And stay silent when he commands silence. Spiritual maturity lies in understanding that not everything God shows is meant to be shared immediately. Now I ask you, have you ever lived this? Have you ever received a revelation, a warning, a clear spiritual sign, yet felt there was no space to share it with anyone? If so, write in the comments, "I have carried the weight of a revelation." That will help others going through the same pain to know they're not alone. The chosen recognize one another. The silence of God. Among all the spiritual pains the chosen face, perhaps the most silent and devastating one is the silence of God. That moment when you pray, cry, fast, seek direction, but heaven seems to stay still. You look for a sign, a word, some comfort, but all you receive is emptiness, and that emptiness weighs heavily. It feels like abandonment, like rejection, but it's not. The silence of God is a process that nearly every chosen one experiences at some point in their journey. And it's not punishment, on the contrary. That silence, as painful as it is often the most powerful way God uses to strengthen your faith. He's teaching you to walk by trust, not by feelings. Teaching you to believe even when everything around says no. That silence reveals how real your faith is. It's easy to trust when everything's going well, when answers come quickly and signs are clear. But what about when they don't? When heaven seems quiet? It's there in that silence that true faith is born. The chosen are tested not through words, but through the voids. Because it's there they discover that God remains present, even when he is silent. Remember Job. He lost everything, and many times found only God's silence as his answer. Yet even then he didn't abandon his faith. He kept believing, even without understanding. And it was precisely that response that revealed his true essence. God uses silence to work on parts of our heart that noise could never reach. Silence teaches patience, humility, dependence. It shows us that we're not in control, that we must trust in God's timing and sovereignty. Often, it's in that space of apparent absence that the greatest miracles are being prepared. While you're crying without answers, God is building the path you'll soon walk on. If you're in that moment now, if you feel that God isn't speaking, that he's distant, know this: he's closer than you think. He sees you. He hears you. But he also knows that it's in this silence that you'll be molded for the next level. And the next level isn't for just anyone. It's for the chosen. Now I invite you to comment here. Even in silence, I trust. That is a spiritual declaration of faith. It's you telling the world and heaven that you don't need to see in order to believe, and that you're willing to keep standing firm, even without understanding, because the silence of God is temporary, but the purpose He has for you is eternal. The silence of God is one of the most mysterious and painful experiences in the spiritual journey of the chosen. We're not talking about ordinary moments of doubt or uncertainty. We're talking about that deep emptiness where you cry out, pray, fast, weep, and it feels as though heaven has closed. There's no answer, no direction, no sign, only silence. And it's in that silent place that many almost give up. But it's also in that place where God works the most. Many believe that when God is silent, it means He's distant, or that they've done something wrong. But that's not always true. The silence of God is often a sign of spiritual maturity. God doesn't speak to the mature the same way He speaks to the newly converted. With the chosen, He leads through processes, and one of the most revealing processes is silence. When He is silent, it's because He is shaping you from the inside out. That silence might come in a moment of crisis, after a great loss, or in the middle of a spiritual battle. You seek comfort, and only find more anguish. It's hard to understand. The soul cries out for an answer, but finds only an echo. And in that echo emerges the deepest pain of all, the sense of abandonment. But the silence of God is not absence, it's strategy. God uses silence to test where your faith truly stands. When things are going well, it's easy to trust. But what about when there's no sign? When the heavens seem like bronze? That's when we see who's truly been called. Silence is a training ground for the chosen. It's God saying, "Trust me even when you don't hear me." And that requires a kind of faith few possess. The kind the chosen must develop. In the Bible, great men and women of God went through that silence. Joseph spent years imprisoned and forgotten. David was anointed king but had to flee as a criminal. Job lost everything and heard only silence. Even Jesus on the cross cried, my God, why have you forsaken me?" The Son of God Himself experienced the Father's silence. That shows it's not rejection, it's a process. A process that separates those of true faith from those who live only by emotions. When God is silent, He's training your spiritual ears, teaching you to discern His presence even when you don't feel anything. Because the faith of the chosen cannot depend on signs, emotions, or visible experiences. It must be solid as a rock, anchored in truth, not in circumstances. God may be silent, but He is still at work. It's in silence that you learn to pray with more depth. It's in silence that you develop intimacy without personal interest. It's in silence that you learn to trust, not in the answers, but in the faithfulness of the one who promised never to leave you. The truth is, when God is silent, He's working in places your eyes cannot yet see. Maybe that's exactly where you are right now. You've prayed, you've cried, you've searched, and still you feel like God isn't hearing you. But I tell you with full conviction, He's there. He hasn't moved. He's just teaching you how to walk by faith. And this lesson, as painful as it may be, is the one that will strengthen you the most. Because when this phase passes, and it will pass, you'll come out different, stronger, more sensitive, more prepared. Don't despise the silence. Learn to listen to it, because within it lies hidden wisdom, a voice that only reveals itself to those who remain steadfast. The chosen don't give up when they don't hear. They keep going, even without signs, because they know that God's silence holds answers that the world's noise could never offer. Now I want you to reflect with me. How many times have you faced this silence? How many times have you felt that God wasn't listening, only to realize later that He was preparing you all along? Comment below. Even in silence, I keep believing. This will strengthen others who are going through the same thing right now. We've reached the end of this journey, and if you've read or listened to every part up to this point, that's already a sign that you're part of something greater. The chosen don't give up midway. They remain even when everything around them seems to say otherwise. They keep going, even without understanding. They fight, even when weary, because there's something within them that never fades. The calling. You've seen now that you're not alone in the pains you carry. It's not madness to feel out of place, sensitive, misunderstood, or even in silence before God. These are spiritual signs pointing to an eternal purpose. You weren't born by accident. You were set apart. And everything you've lived, including the pain, is part of the preparation process for something greater. Now I want you to take part in something special. Write in the comments, "I recognize the signs. I am chosen." Declare it in faith, not out of pride, but as a public testimony of what God is awakening within you. And if you can, share which part of the series spoke to you most, which pain, which sign, which passage touched your heart the deepest. When you comment, you strengthen others who are going through the same process. Together, we form a community of chosen ones who support, build, and grow with each other. May this series have been more than just content. May it have been a calling, and may you never forget, God chose you, and He will complete what He began.